changes, Mudjet?
I don't remember them personally, but
You didn't see anything about the twisted bow today?
them all.
Actually, it was Tom H that tested them all, but so there was a few things that were done for raids. What else did we do?
The twisted bow.
personal storage boxes were a big
Personal
one.
storage
Right?
is good.
Yeah.
Twisted bow change. Permanent dead man got raids.
The Kodai wand has 15% rune reduction chance.
There's a bunch
There's some other
of
stuff.
smaller things like the potions in raids now. They have a bigger click zone, so they're easier to pick up from the
More
floor.
broken
A
light
bunch of people
bulbs.
brought
Yeah,
that.
there's a bunch of nice ball stuff as well.
Yeah, and the Doggish Khan light bulbs breaking, they become a bit of an issue when the clue scrolls started asking you to go there and play with that content, and it turned out that the lights really don't break very often. So we made it happen a bit more. Maybe the content's actually fairly decent now to actually go and play, but hopefully that's less of an issue for you.
All right. We are taking questions throughout the stream, guys, but it's solely kind of relying on us sniping them out of the chat. So try to be bold. Yell.
Don't tell Twitch chat to be bold. Come on.
The more emotes, the more likely we will see your question. Let's get into the questions then. So first one's from Nose Phoenix. He says, in the Dead Man mode final, this is a suggestion, I take it, Barrow's items get degraded to 0% when you kill somebody. Can you change that?
So at the end, when there's just broken barrows everywhere.
Can you
and
pick
it's
them
all
up and
useless.
actually be able to use them, yeah?
It's something we could probably do, but yeah.
Ooh.
We could just make them fix, couldn't
I know.
we?
I remember last time when it ended at GD's, there was the Dragon Fire Shield on the floor. I remember seeing that. And someone straight away when
somebody doesn't realise it drops the charges.
But obviously, yeah, it's useless at that point.
It's like a myth square or something.
But you still look very
Charges.
intimidating, so I
You
would
do. You look
still
spooky.
do it,
Yeah, that's true.
So if we could just maybe we could look at keeping items useful at the end.
Obviously, there's an extent of you could make it so that you could just kill yourself and fix your own barrows, but in the Dead Man finale, you ain't coming back. So I think that's probably a fair change at that
I think
point.
it's actually sounds all right.
Yeah. We'll fix it essentially when you drop it instead of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if it sounds all right to Mod Merchant, you can guarantee it's going to happen.
Sounds all right.
Yeah,
That's my seal of
sounds all right.
approval.
It's a good idea. Moving on. Oh, speaking of Deadman, we have a couple interesting things, as you might have guessed from the title. We have the previous winner of the Deadman tournament interview, so look forward to that at some point throughout the stream. We also have a really cool after movie that ESL made for us after we hosted the event at their studio. So yeah, look forward to those. Moving on. Nathan says, can you make the golden tools from Priest in Peril usable?
Oh God. So this sort of thing comes up occasionally. Like, can we have different versions of a hammer, for example, or the tinderbox, for example? You know, the gnomish one from the Clue Scrolls. And well, there's an issue with the hammer, for example. The hammer is used all over the game for various things. Think of all the quests you needed a hammer for, not just like construction. It's used everywhere. All of a sudden, we have to now go and find all calls to this in the code where we're checking, do you have a hammer on you? And then check instead, do you have a hammer or a golden hammer on you? And if you remember when Jagex won an award from the golden,
the
golden
two-handed
thing,
golden
and
hammer
they added
thing.
the golden hammer into game.
Yeah.
The gold. What's
Did
that
that work
called?
as was it the golden joysticks? Or something?
That's the one, the golden
Yeah.
joysticks, of course. And so they added a gold hammer to game to like celebrate, and that had to then be added to
that
all the
work as a
hammer
hammer?
places in game. I don't believe it did it first.
Oh, okay.
And it was an issue because
Okay.
everyone was trying to use it as a hammer, and then it didn't work. So that sort of thing, basically, it's a big job. But I'm not against it ever happening because it means we could then, like you know, with mining and woodcutting, they have full systems implemented so that you can use different tools. I'm not saying that's impossible. Like now with harpoons, there's always been 2 harpoons, but Ash overhauled the harpoon system so we can have more types. That's essentially what we have to do.
It kind of just seems like a priority issue, where it's like, yeah, it might be nice, but realistically, are we going to actually sit down
for the
and do
sake
that?
for the sake of some golden tools that aren't going to do anything different.
Probably not.
But they look
Probably
nice.
not.
I don't know.
But maybe in the backlog is a nice thing to do.
But there's certainly the option of one day we might add a dragon hammer, you know, a better version of a hammer that gives you something extra, you know, that sort of thing.
All right. Next question then. Lirizan says, is there a concern amongst your team with the number of raids declining? I'm pretty sure he's asking, is there a concern with the amount of raids being completed on a daily basis as opposed to like obviously the first day on release?
Actually, raids is looking like pretty healthy at the moment. I mean, yes, there are less, and yes, there's less people watching on Twitch, but that's what happens when you release content in any game of any nature. There's, of course, a release peak. Actually, the sort of tail that you'd expect to see, well, you do see with any sort of content, is looking really good. Obviously, you set your targets based on where you want the drop to stop, and yeah, raids is going.
Did you look at the graph out there?
Pretty, I did, yeah.
I was looking at the graph as well.
I like graphs, yeah. But no, it was.
Should we draw it?
Yeah, no, it was. It's pretty good. Raids is doing really well, basically. Without going into like specific numbers, it's better than. Yeah, it's good. It's more than what you'd hope for. It's awesome.
I think we have a graph coming up.
I do have a graph coming up.
Be careful with that.
Ooh,
Like specific numbers.
That's
There you go.
dangerous.
So I'm gonna go up to the camera.
this is
This is
confidential
Matt
business
ain't even
rates.
here, and data is happening.
We're gonna have to get you all to sign an NDA when you see this graph because it's pretty in depth.
Basically,
It's the wrong
Ronan is the worst.
Change the camera again.
I need focus here.
So
That.
as you can see, that's the amount of raids
That's the
being
graph.
run. You'd normally expect to see that go a bit further down, but as you can see, it's quite a pleasing squiggle. So,
Is that just not the new phase of Zora?
yeah, no, it is, yeah. You can see the little tongue coming out the top. But that's what we went for. We
What's
said we want-
interesting is that we actually plotted two graphs. One was entering raids. A second was entering the boss room. Not completing a raid on this graph. And we've seen those two lines get closer and closer together as obviously the people who couldn't do raids stopped trying and the people got better at it as well.
But actually, like the engagement rate overall of like, so we also track how many people ever try to do a raid, and yeah, it was really, really good. Like, of course, for something that is end game content, it was really strong. So yeah, raids
It's
is done
amazing,
so well.
especially when we further cut that down to like players that were only over level 120 combat. The numbers that went there is insane.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
We've
the
not
top
seen,
end of
we've not
players
seen
it
much
was-
of this before at all, and it's quite amazing because this is aimed at a very niche group of players, really.
Yeah,
At the top end
great.
of PVM.
So, yeah, pretty good.
I'm trying really hard to snipe some of these
Dude, it's going
questions.
so fast the chat right now.
But yeah, this is something that we're continuously monitoring. If we feel that all of a sudden people are not interested in raids for whatever reason, the rewards aren't worth it, it's something that we'll obviously look at.
Somebody's there asking for more low to mid-level bossing content. Obviously, raids, well, actually, it's scalable, so you might be able to take apart if you at least have some decent stats to go with
There was
it.
a guy who posted who completed it on like I think it was like a 72 range pure.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. So you can. I mean, he had like 10 points, but it wasn't too bad.
I'm assuming he's maybe looking for like a solo boss. What about like a low-level Zulrah?
To be fair, I think we've done fairly decent. we added Obo.
Go kill over.
And we
That's
had,
true.
and we had Skatiza.
I don't know. I think there's. I
Both
actually
around.
think like if you look back at the category of content we like came out with, there's a lot of good stuff there to go learn on. You know, you can go learn on your Bandos stuff like that. So I'm okay with catering to high end at the moment. Does that mean that I don't want to see any mid to low level stuff in the future? Probably not. But I think we've got a
I
pretty
think
good
Obor is a
spread.
good example, honestly.
Yeah, you can go call the mole as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's loads of stuff you can learn to do.
I'd be open to doing stuff like slower level bosses, because I mean, in terms of bossing level, they're not tough bosses overall. Like
Yeah.
Kraken, you don't go there to practice your top end bossing skills, but it's still a boss.
Yeah.
If you added like a cockatrice boss, you could imagine it'd be quite interesting. Or a basilisk boss sort of thing could be more interesting for the lower end
Yeah.
level.
I'd like to see that stuff. That sounds good.
All right, moving on. Shinshan says, can you increase the amount of mutated blood builds in the Quran catacombs? At peak times, it's very difficult to find a world.
We're monitoring this. We're actually in the process of setting up some data tracking for busy places.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an issue. I mean, this is why we added the catacombs in the first place and thought it would be a good piece of content to do, because the amount of requests we were getting for this Slayer spot's full, this Slayer spot's full, this Slayer spot's full, and we wanted to do something a bit different and a bit interesting and added the catacombs as an alternative. But yeah, we're monitoring this and we're going to look at to see what else we can do.
Okay, cool. I'm going to trust you with the notepad today because I forgot my pen. Black Mirror says, can we get a high scores for fastest completion times for different party sizes in raids?
I really like Black Mirror.
It's a good TV show. Yeah.
We've had this question quite a few times. When it comes to things like that, at the moment, our high scores only support the other way. So you'd eventually get high scores of all the longest raids, which would be a bit awkward. So and that's also
I worry about
dependent
the
on-
I worry about the variance in there as well. Like, where do we stop? You know, do we have
Well, yeah. Do we go
5, 6, 7, 8? There's going to be a lot of scores listed there.
You'd
So
effectively have 100 possibilities.
I'd rather do it by range. Like, you know, maybe do like specific sizes up to 10, then go like 10 to 15, 15 to 20 and stuff. But it's something that in the future would be nice.
In general, we definitely want to add more minigame high scores at different points, including clear scores, boss kills, and then times of various content as well do make sense. But all of this does require the web team's time, and they are a rather busy team, and they are essentially a service team to the company. So all the different teams inside this company need the web team
Yeah.
to work for them.
Yeah.
It's not the web team isn't just old school's web team.
No.
So they have to act with priorities.
It's another
in
thing
mind.
of like, yes, nice thing, yes, we want to do it. It's going to be when not just us, but other people have time to. So
But adding bosses and clear scores is a smaller job because obviously they fit into the current high scores. But doing decreasing high scores, that's probably a difficult job, to be honest.
A lot of spam in the chat is asking, or at least one guy very avidly asking about Last Man Standing. It needs a lot of work before we can consider doing anything more with it, I think it's safe to say. And unfortunately, I don't think we can, prioritize that at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something we've forgotten about. We know there are issues with it, and we want to address them when we have some time to do so.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will be first half of this year. It's like
Yeah.
a time we'd like to do that, but obviously there's...
I mean, Last Man Standing, it sounds convenient, but we were actually talking about it a couple of hours ago. Like, it's something that we discuss regularly still, because it's something that we are invested in, like emotionally as players, as well as people who want to make it. So, yeah, I wouldn't count Last Man Standing out just yet.
All right. Next question then. Pogo says, there's a rumor floating around that the Dark Relic may have another use aside from providing junk amount of experience. Can you confirm?
Next question.
I don't even...
That's one of those. You see, that's one of those catch-22 questions, because if it did, we would never say. So,
Crack the clue.
oh, crack the clue.
It's a relic and it's dark.
Yeah.
Also, what do you think about allowing players to use it on prayer, as most people completing raids already have max combat stats?
I think we had briefly discussed at one point or another about opening it up to many skills. Whether that was basically like to turn into an XP hub, but you select it. Because it gives a flat rate based on your level, I think the exact calculation is 50 XP times the level.
It's
Right.
fair enough as well. You're not going to have to farm this like ridiculously quickly for the amount of XP you're going to be
But
getting.
you're also sacrificing an item that would have been in its place, right? You could have potentially got something worth like...
Depends how the drop table works there, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know
Who
how it
knows,
works.
Chris?
I would
actually
say
doesn't,
prayer
but-
experience sounds nice if you're asking me. If I was doing raids and I'm like 99 combat stats but 75 prayer or something, I'd really hope I'd get some prayer experience.
I mean, at the very least, I'd expect to be able to open it up to all the skills that are relevant in raids. So you could add it to herb lore, thieving, etc.
That makes sense. Human says, can the agility skill cape perk be changed that it includes the energy restoration bonus of full graceful? At the moment, it's just the graceful cape, which is merely a cosmetic upgrade.
Does it not count as a graceful set?
It does, but not on its own. I think what he wants to be able to do is wear any armor he likes with his agility cape, and he'll still get the grace.
If it is
man,
merely
that's-
just the
that's why
graceful
it's a
cape,
set.
it's literally just a cosmetic.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
So he wants the set bonus with just the cape.
What do people think about that?
Yeah, it's not one we could just change. That's something we'd have to open up to the community.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it gives it quite a buff. And if you've got 99 agility, all of a sudden you don't need to wear graceful, basically.
Yeah.
You could wear that
Not
cape
all
and
of a
then
sudden.
you'd be
You
able to
work
have that run
long
benefit
hours to
while
get there.
wearing full dragon.
I think we should straw pull this one if we can.
But I'm interested in seeing what the community think.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, like with stamina potions and
A lot of
stuff, you're going to be using them more often than not. I mean,
A lot of
cape alone isn't
the skill kit perks have benefits of that sort of power. So
I mean, how long does it take to get 99 agility?
Too
It's to make it just work as the graceful cape.
Also,
It's not much.
arguably 99 agility doesn't really have many benefits either.
Yeah. So should your 99 agility or your agility skill cape grant you the full graceful effect, set effect? So you could still wear your fashion escape, you could wear your full bandos, whatever you wanted to, and
I
you'd
mean,
still have the
there
full
really
bracelet.
can't be that many people with 99 agility. I imagine it's one of the rare ones.
Obviously, this would
Who
apply.
trains past 99?
What's that?
It's a meme.
Obviously, this would apply to the Maxscape as well. The standard Maxscape, that is.
So we're going to have that straw poll in the chat for you guys momentarily. Moving on to the next question. Catch says, can there be a completion rate for raids next to a player's name? For example, players who are consistently leaving raids early will have a lower completion rate. This means they'll have a reason to not just ditch groups.
Do we have room in the interface to do something like that?
I don't know if we can stick stuff like that in. If he means like on the right click
Yeah.
of a player, I don't know. Maybe when they join your raids thing, we have the little raids interface. We
Maybe in
can
the
have a.
In the chat?
There would probably be room to put it on there somewhere.
Depends how
I
we
mean,
track it. Like,
a
will
bit-
players rate each other, or will it just be he's
The problem with that
100%
is
percentage.
if I do a raid with 6 of my mates and we invite Ronan, and then we decide at the end that we don't like Ronan and give him rubbish ratings.
no, it's not. It's not a
It would just be a
player-based
completion
rating.
bait.
It's a.
It's
if you
leaving.
leave,
It just
Yeah.
seems
it lowers
like
your rating. But there are issues with that.
Yeah.
You can manipulate it. You can go in 100 raids with a bunch with by yourself, complete it, just to buff your rating,
Yeah.
and then go and screw teams over or something. You can
That's
also.
dedication, though.
it just seems like it promotes being toxic. a bit
Why
as
would you
well.
go through that much work
Yeah,
just
it's
to...
not the easiest thing to just
And also-
quickly
that's
go in
difficult
and finish your
trolling.
raid, so, like,
DCing would harm your rating.
Yeah.
Is that an issue? Obviously, the rest of your team still sort of suffers if you DC and they don't.
I mean,
But
I don't know. I think it'd be nice. It depends how big of an issue is it with players leaving raids early. This would be a nice way to combat that if it is an issue, but one to think about. So we have the results for that straw poll. Should your agility skill cape grant you the full graceful set effect? 82% yes. I think that's an idea worth holding on to.
it's on the notepad.
All right. Moving on. From 2005 says, when will sailing be repolled? It's been 1.5 years and there are now many new players as well as the abstain option.
It's still an idea that we have, and obviously at some point we may find it suitable to do, but I don't believe we have any intentions to do it anytime right now. But one day, obviously we haven't ruled it out forever. In fact,
one day.
In fact,
We need to make some major changes to the design if we wanted to, and like bulk it up a bit more and give it some more substance, I think.
yeah. Sailing taught us a lot when we did that dev blog and that poll process and saw players' reactions to it. And it's difficult. It's getting the balance of how much work do we put into it in case it
What
fails,
was the,
and how much detail do we give you guys.
Ronan might know this. What was the percentage for sailing in the end?
Wait, wasn't it like 72%?
I think it was 68. or
Really?
something
Okay.
I
like
thought it was high
closer than that.
60s. I can't remember.
It's not a bad point. There are many new players since sailing.
Well,
and
abstain
the
alone.
abstain
I mean,
option
the problem
is,
with pointing out the
yeah.
abstain option, though, is that we saw this even on Dragon Claws. Like, when something is a very, very big poll question, the abstain rate is tiny. Like, we had an absolutely, negligible amount of players abstain, even on something like Dragon Claws. I imagine with skill, there'd be next to no.
I
people
remember
abstaining.
68 from over a year ago.
There you go, 68%.
No, you Googled it before this, don't lie. All right. Yeah, I think that answers that.
Hopefully one day. It'd be interesting to offer it again and see what players think.
Next question is from Matthew. Says, will it ever be possible when doing a solo raid to log out and come back later on in the day and be at the same spot?
It's not like I imagine a similar thing would be the fight caves, right? But that is a set kind of. I don't know, what you're going through is the same every time, and we can remember what wave you're on and just reload that. Whereas raids are a lot more unique, and at the point that you log out, I think after a while we just delete that whole instance and we lose everything.
Yeah. It's a matter of like minutes or however long you have.
Yeah.
It's a matter of, I think it's random.
Right, okay.
How long an instance can stay.
So many issues with trying to pull that off. I mean, theoretically, you could try and remember absolutely everything about your last dungeon when you logged out, and try and reload it when you go in. But raids are very complicated as is. Trying to put that system into old school was quite the feat. And to then say, now we're going to try and remember all the important items you've dropped on the floor briefly, and all the items you've got in your chest, and all of that while you log out, and then log back in, generate the same dungeon, put you in the same place with all the boss rooms you've done, and all that. I think it's unsurmountable to a degree.
Yeah, even if they just ask for the bare bones, same rooms that you were on, and the rooms completed that you'd already finished, I think that alone has so many things we'd have to remember and save that it's not feasible.
Honestly, the better solution would be to try and have instancing changed, and that if an instance becomes empty, it isn't deleted as quickly. Perhaps.
Yeah.
But that's an engine side change.
Valid answer. Bank says, suggestion. If boosts don't reset on login, they should always give at least the full minute to the first depletion. So I think if you log it immediately,
I really like this idea. I'm not sure how possible it is, because obviously at the moment we have a timer running on the player that starts when you log in, and if you happen to be towards the end of that and you drink a potion, you're going to lose it when it next ticks. I don't know if we have any other types of timers in game already. We might do.
There's an issue in that, well, first up, I mean, we could do it. We could just make it so that when you drink something that boosts a stat, it would reset the timer. That would be possible. But you eat your wild pie and you boost from 80 to 85 Slayer to get some whips, and then you just take a bunch of agility potions in your inventory, and you don't need wild pies anymore. You just buff your agility very slightly, completely unrelated and easy to obtain, and you reset that timer constantly with any other boost.
We couldn't make it specific to each.
So what we'd have to do is then generate you a timer for every single skill.
Yeah.
And that gets a bit over the top and ridiculous. I mean, I totally appreciate where it's coming from, and I'd like to see what we can do about that, because it is irritating.
Chat's like, just do it. Well, there you go. Problem solved.
But I would like to look into that. I mean, I don't like that you can use your boost and just lose it straight away. Does anyone want that behavior? I mean, you've used your wild pie, you should get the benefit out of it. Right. So
you're mod lazy now. You should have just said it's not possible.
It's impossible, guys. Sorry.
Damn.
But I write it down because I want to look into it.
Tom says, can we see a loot sharing system for raids?
Ooh, loot shares are controversial.
Just for raids.
Okay.
Just for raids.
Just for raids. Well,
essentially it has one. That's what it's using.
That's a good point, actually.
To a degree, that it's obviously not giving you potential afterwards for missing an item, but the item, say you generate a unique reward and it generates a twisted bow. The way it picks a player is based on your point distribution as part of your team. If you add up all the individual player scores and there's 100,000 and yours is 20,000, you're going to have like a 1 in 5 chance or so of getting one. I believe that's how it works. But it might not work like that. Don't take that into account. Don't take the numerical example into account. But your weighting as part of your team improves your chances of getting a reward.
Okay.
I think it's for big. This problem might be people just running away with the twisted bow.
Right.
In which case, the things we polled, was it last year, would have been really nice to have to avoid this problem, but they haven't passed the poll. So.
To a degree, we polled it with raids in mind, and it failed. And we tried to get.
To be honest, there seems to be like massive opposition to it even now in the chat.
I think I like the way it is now. I haven't seen any complaints.
I think it's okay. I think if somebody doesn't split.
Ultimately, everyone has a fair chance at getting one reward to themselves.
Yeah,
if your team agrees,
if you agree to split and then somebody doesn't, but
totally.
Yeah.
It's a life lesson.
All right.
Don't trust people.
Angel says, can you make all the Slayer points extensions / tasks unlocks toggleable?
What?
So you would
basically to have them all act like the superior encounters one. The way that when we polled it and we set it up, it's effectively you pay for it once and you can turn it off and on whenever you like.
Okay.
Everything else at the moment is set up so you pay for it, and if you turn it off, next time you want to turn it on, you pay for it again. So in theory,
possible with a fair amount of work. The superior slayers was quite an exception plugged into the code to make it work. It's totally possible. The alternative is that we allow you to sell it back, not for full points, but if you want to turn off your task extensions of X task, you'd be able to sell it back and get 60% of the points back or something.
It's better than
maybe that's
the
a way to do
current
it.
way they're getting it. So,
What do you think? Idea worth holding on to then?
So you'd get a partial refund.
yeah, definitely.
Maybe it's a better way.
It's definitely a place to start.
The one thing that I'd want to avoid is being able to toggle certain things off and on and take advantage of it.
I think it would depend entirely. Perhaps like the boost, like the extenders, you could have like that. But if it's like switching on certain tasks, then perhaps they would have to cancel. Because otherwise you'd literally just be able to go get 1,000 points or whatever it is, unlock something, and then turn them off when you don't want to use those, and then turn on something else, and you haven't actually lost anything.
Toggles seem to be going down well, rather. Question from the chat there saying, any chance of a bounty hunter rework / improvements? We spoke of potentially doing like a PvP poll in the near future.
Well,
Obviously.
very conveniently, February has seemed to have become our quality of life month. Last year in February, we did 4 quality of life polls, 1 for PvP, 1 for PvM, 1 for skilling, and 1 for MISC, or general. And in each week, we run a poll. So every single week there's a poll. And we take all the community suggestions. Last year we hunted for suggestions all from social media and saw what you guys want. And then we stuck those into a poll. After the poll closes, we try to knock out as many as we can of that poll for the next week's update. We want to do fast turnarounds, look at what you guys are asking for, and say, hey, we just did that for you. And we want to focus that on the four key areas. I know PvP already has a lot of suggestions that we want to look at, and I'm sure there's many for the other suggestions as well. And I'm sure at some point soon we'll be putting threads out on Reddit and that sort of thing.
All right. Looking forward to that.
We have pretty much started that off with the graphics one now, kind of. There's going to be another poll next week, which is going to be poll to decide the stuff we blogged about.
Oh, the poll.
So if you didn't hear what Ronan just said, so the graphics poll is sort of in that vein already, that we're focused on graphics. Next week we're putting the poll out. So if you saw the dev blog about the polling system with regards to like minority communities, like such as PvP, often PvP has struggled to get things through that don't affect anyone else, but a lot of people vote no to it, similar to Iron Man. We want to talk about the poll system and pull you on some of that stuff, and then after that would be the quality of life month.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Let's see where we are here. Sacred says, when Corp dies and the loot is shown, can your damage versus the person who dealt the most damage both be shown?
As in, whoever gets the drop, it displays the damage they did to the monster.
So if I did X damage and I thought I was going to get the kill, but then it turns out you got the kill, I want to see how far away I was from what damage you did.
I quite like that, because that's a very common thing that a lot of people ask while corping.
I know.
You do 600 damage, you think, oh, I'm doing well, awesome, I should get the drop. And then your mate comes in and ends up doing 100 more than you did, and you're like...
It sounds pretty nice. So I didn't really see any like downsides of it. It's one of those updates that just seems like a nice addition.
Would you give up? If you see somebody's like way above you, would you turn off your piety and be like, I'm not going to get this kill?
You would only see it at the end.
Yeah, you see it at the end. I'm thinking potentially in the loot broadcast, if we've had a new part of it that says like you got this drop with X damage.
Yeah, that would
then
be
we
nice
could have that throughout the game.
I like that.
I would like it to be throughout the game, but we can't actually look at the values from the hero point system. So I believe Corp has a specific variable created to be able to track it when it does it. So there might be issues with that, but as a whole, I know from PVMing experience myself, all these higher end bosses, you're all fighting for the drop, and you'd like to be able to see, is it going to be mine? Is it going to be mine? So I want to do something here, because I really like that idea.
It's a great idea.
I like it a lot.
You put it on the notepad.
I will put it on the notepad.
Yeah.
And I like Jed's idea of putting it straight in the loop broadcast message.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
All right. One more from the chat here. We're almost showing the Dead Man After movie. That's exciting. Can we do something with the boat being built by the shipyard?
No, it's still being built, mate.
It's still being built.
It's not done yet.
Sailing.
Yeah.
20...
Soon.
Should have voted yes to say.
Which ship? Which shipyard?
I don't know. I imagine there's like a half-built boat somewhere in the game.
What boat and which shipyard?
Why are you clicking, Ronan?
Ronan knows. He's lured someone there before.
Is it by the red portal?
Not the shipyard.
The dig site.
Dig site, that's
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this a staged question?
It sounds like a staged question,
Was this
Ronan.
you, Ronan?
What did we talk about at Runefest? It was an island called Fossil Island, and they've been building a barge there for a long time. That was always going to be the barge that took you to Fossil Island. It came out with the museum update, like, what, 2006?
Yeah,
Maybe earlier, slightly
very,
earlier
very
than
long
that.
time ago. Yeah.
10 years ago. We're looking at doing Fossil Island later this year. Some preliminary design work is being done currently. We're taking a lot of community ideas. And at some point reasonably soon, we'll be kicking off about how we're going to offer that to you guys and devblog it and pull it.
Yeah, so if you guys do have any ideas, definitely send them through. I know Modmaz is putting a collection together. So ideally tweet her, and then she'll be able to put things she likes or people seem to like towards us when we design it as a whole.
It's really cool because Modmaz was the one who wrote the actual original design doc back in 2006, and now she's going to get to do the project.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Basically, which is a game from 2007 when it might have been originally done, which is sort of weird, but
That's pretty cool. I like that. That's nice.
it's an old school idea for an old school game.
That's cool.
So I think we're about to cut to the Dead Man After movie. Again, this is just a quick kind of very short summary of the event that we hosted at ESL in Leicester for the previous Dead Man tournament. And yeah, take it away. How's it going, guys? And welcome to the Dead Man Season 3 finale. Joined with us on the very far left, we have Nightinator. Guess who's next to Nightinator? That's Robert. Moving along, we have somebody who really doesn't need an introduction. On the very far right is Manked Up Mage.
The final hour is about to begin.
Oh, he's down! What's up, Premate? No, he's not! He survived it! What the? Oh, Nightinator has fallen. Oh, it looks like Robert, the new clan, going down as well.
The fog is going to be coming in a lot
That's getting caught! Obviously, the gate itself is one way. You can't get it at the same time. Everyone running in.
Look at the carnage we're seeing right now.
I believe Manked Up Mage has just fallen as well. Seb, his secret strategy, we didn't find out in the end,
Was
clearly
very secret after all.
1 versus 1. It's going to be a 1v1. Rodney's going to be the one who takes it.
Oh my god, that was bizarre, actually.
I liked that.
Yeah.
You know what I liked about that? The intro that I didn't ruin. That was like all of my day was like, don't stutter. Just say the intro line. We got this. It was a good video. You can expect to see that on our YouTube channel probably by the end of the day. I think we'll throw it up. It's going to be in this video anyways, so why not? Moving on. We'll have the Dead Man winner interview at the end of the stream today, I think, so stay tuned.
If you haven't seen any of those in the past, they're great.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that. It was really good.
All right, moving on. Big Raccoon says, can you allow free-to-play to craft coifs and studded leather armor? All components are obtainable in free-to-play, and so is the armor, but for some reason, free-to-players can't craft it.
It makes sense. If all the materials can be obtained for free to play.
That is really
It seems like an odd thing. We'd be like, you need membership to make
To be
this
honest,
coif.
I didn't know they couldn't.
I did.
Are coifs free to play themselves?
Were you ever free-to-play, or did you just go straight in members?
No, man, I got a mum's credit card.
All right.
Straight in there.
Is there a cut-off point in crafting for free-to-play, though?
I don't know.
Any of these exceed it? I'm not sure.
Can coifs be,
good
can coifs be
question.
wielded
Yeah.
in free to play?
Yes.
But they can't
yes.
be crafted, is that it?
Yes, and so
Then-
can studded bodies.
Why the hell not? It makes sense to me. And I'm also impressed you pronounced coif correctly.
Quaff.
Quaff.
Quaff is what a lot of people say. And I'm like,
How else do you say it?
why would you say quaff? It's obviously
Personally,
coin.
never heard
Hang
of
on,
it.
hang on.
You've never heard it?
No. A little relevant here. Say croissant.
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 It's not
Too bad we
croissant.
haven't
That
done
was shit.
These guys know. All right. Campfire says, can the construction kit get an extra right-click option to teleport inside of your house?
This is the one that we just
It
updated,
remembers.
isn't
It remembers what
Yeah,
you have
so
it set
if
to.
you turn your setting in your house settings, and it's set to inside, it will teleport you inside. You just select home.
So there's no need for the extra right-click then?
No.
There
you go.
That's the
Answers that.
chat
Maybe
said.
because-
Well, it's literally like click and then press 1 immediately.
All right, there you go. He's got a follow-up question. This guy likes his easy escape questions. Hang on, we have a better one. Can we get an option to hold Control or Alt to walk under stuff, i.e. cannons, box traps?
I would love to have more key modifier stuff in RuneScape.
Well,
Key modifier stuff is really helpful. I mean, imagine if you open the bank, you hold Control, you click on something and it withdraws all, rather than withdraw one. You're in your inventory and you're trying to drop some stuff. You don't want to eat your trout. You want to drop your trout. So you hold Control, you click on the trout, and it drops it. And it makes navigating the interface so
way
much
too easy.
easier.
Way too easy.
It's way too easy. I mean, people already use mouse keys to drop really quickly, and it shouldn't be the point where you have to do that. Navigating our interface shouldn't be the issue there.
I think it's part of the game.
I enjoy watching someone skillfully decant potions and drop a full inventory of ore.
I prefer seeing it the other way around, where they can't get something
I
out of the
imagine
bank.
that's like your YouTube search history, but somebody decanting a full inventory of potions. It's like,
It's a bonus stream, isn't it?
Oh boy.
Now-
Oddly enough,
Oh boy.
if you saw some of the information that Modlotti posted out on Twitter today, the leaping trout is the most dropped item over the last 30 days, with I think about 66 million of them dropped.
Wow.
How did we get there from
Data.
that?
Actually, that was really
Oh,
interesting.
talking
dropping
about
stuff,
trout.
right. I was like,
There's
what?
other stuff up there as well. You had actual normal raw trout. You had iron ore, and you had empty vials, which was my favourite one because you can imagine iron ore, trout, and everything. People are
Yeah.
fishing, dropping in them in big quantities, but vials, it's like everyone's dropping the odd one.
Yeah, that's
and
cool
you could
'cause,
see it
yeah.
in the data because it said the number of users that had been dropping these things.
That's actually pretty cool, yeah, because obviously Vars is all over the game.
With vials, you were looking at a much bigger range of players that were dropping them.
Back to the question though, I think it's like an unfortunate. It's definitely engine to make them ops dynamic, and I don't know if we have scope for that kind of stuff at the moment.
Yeah, and it's probably a big engine job as well.
It's something that we'd have to be, personally, I think it's something that we'd have to be very, if we did ever do it, very careful with.
I mean,
It's a
we've got
slippery
the,
slope to
the
go
key
into mad
to
key
run,
modifiers.
right?
Yeah.
So you know,
That's hard coded in the engine, that one actually.
Yeah.
As I was asking back when Ian Gower was still here, I asked Ian about key modifiers, and he said that's actually hard coded in there, which is cool.
That's pretty cool.
All right. Where are we here? OSRS says, now that it's been 6 months, can we get the drop rate for Master Clue Scroll rewards?
Did we not give these out?
I thought you did.
I swear we gave these
Did
out
you
when we
make-
did the 1,000 Master Clue.
Yeah, I thought you made a nice shiny image.
I
Pretty
know
sure
we
we
did
did.
for Elites. Was that for Masters as
I think
well?
what they want is the whole thing. You know,
Probably.
I believe Ronan made that. Did you make that big scrolled like graphic originally, Ronan, for the elites, where you had the little icons and the chance of going to next table and stuff?
Yeah, then someone made a better one.
Maybe you should do that for a masters.
Okay, and then they can make a better one.
Yes. People are asking for it. You would be instantly more popular.
Yeah, we can do that. And no, I wouldn't.
Think of the Reddit karma.
Which somebody else will beat you to because they'll post it first.
Yeah, it feels bad.
All right. Mono says, every item quickly drops a lot in price during the release period. The prayer scroll has doubled in price, with next to none of them coming into the game compared to the amount of players that have the requirements. Do you plan for the prayers to always be extremely expensive?
I think the prayer scroll, this is personal opinion, so don't take this as verbatim, but I think the prayer scroll probably needs revisiting.
I disagree.
Really? You
I
like
think
Rigger
how long
being-
have raids been out for?
3 weeks?
2 weeks, 3 weeks?
It's hardly any time, man.
Yeah, but that's so rare.
I knew
can I
that
make
like I want it
We've
on
seen
my,
how many
on
people
my
did
main.
raids, and bear in mind that was the. Obviously, they're not running it efficiently at that point, but that is probably the highest amount of people that will ever be running raids at one time on release, right?
Right. But this makes raids very valuable.
It does, but at the same time, I don't mean like the rarity perhaps, but what I'm talking about is you need 2 to get Rigger and Augury.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty crazy.
That's a valid point, and we have another question about that in a bit.
Would well, we probably couldn't do it now because people have spent 2. A few people will have. I would have had them unlock both, but I don't know.
Ooh.
That's a personal opinion. Don't.
I was going to say maybe split them up individually.
What, and have like a more common
Yeah.
one for maybe Augury or something?
Yeah.
Because obviously Rigger is super good, but I don't know.
I don't know. I guess it's a little controversial. I like to see. I enjoy seeing how rare they are, how few people have them, the price some people are willing to pay, and then some people waiting and saying, I'm not going to pay for that. I'll wait till they're like 100 mil or whatever. So I enjoy that aspect.
With
personally.
regards to the fact that normally boss drops come out and then they go down, the price was different because it's consumed. You don't buy your twisted bow, use it, play with
Throw
it,
at somebody.
and then you can sell it again.
Yeah.
It goes back into the GA. This doesn't. You buy it and use it, and it's gone.
I mean, how much is it at the moment?
So-
Like 300 mil? They were crazy expensive still.
Something like that, yeah.
They're probably gone down by now, but like that's so much.
We have a follow-up question, which I could probably jump to. There it is. Delete says, have you considered separating Augury from the prayer scroll? The only reason it's nearly 400 mil is because of Rigger.
It's the same
comes
kind
back
of
to your
thing
idea.
where either we can combine them or separate them to solve that issue.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
going to
the
be
400.
expensive.
Ronan, can we do a straw poll on? And I'd like,
Can we do unlock both, separate them, and keep as is, and see what people vote on?
and I would also add another option of make it more common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I want to add more comment to all of them because I feel like they're. Hang on.
Just yell.
No,
Just yell,
I've got
scream.
the mic set up because it sounds horrible when I yell.
Screamo, Ronan, go.
I think that given how expensive they are right now, and the fact that they are consumable, and the fact that they're combined, I feel like there's a lot of reasons why we could make them more common. I think we could do both, to be honest, make them more common and split them off, because they're going to keep their price because they're consumable. There's always going to be new players coming in. There's always going to be a demand for them. They'll still be expensive, but I feel like where they're sat right now, they're so expensive that, reasonably speaking, you're not even going to want to aspire to get it, because it's like you're spending half an Ellie to get Rigger. Rigger's great, not if you have to spend half an Ellie to get it, though.
There you go. All
There you
right.
go.
It's a fair answer. I think the chat completely agrees with you. The only question then is, people doing raids, do you feel like this would devalue the experience for you? Do you think you'd get, well, assuming they would drop
mean,
a little bit in price?
I think it
right?
would definitely make the average raid less worthwhile based
Right.
on loot potential, which is kind of one of the reasons to do it. You spend that time, you get a chance at something that's fairly expensive. And with something that's as polarizing as Rigger is, I personally would kind of like to keep it fairly rare. Maybe not necessarily as much as it is.
But I mean, the fact is, because they're consumable, like Ronan touched on, the current influx of players, there will always be a demand for them. Like, yes, they will be slightly cheaper, but they will remain at a high price,
Can we
just
do a
because of the
straw
ratio
poll,
of players to scrolls dropping.
I think everyone in the chat agrees with you and Ronan, so well done. You got me. Just
It's-
providing debate, that's all.
It's tricky though. This is it's a controversial topic. It's something that players have invested. Some players have bought both. I mean, last week when we added the preserve scroll, we first took this preserve off that scroll. We looked at all the numbers of how many players had each of the prayers, and it was like 80% of the unlocks, or 90% of the unlocks were Rigger.
I think it was
10% of them were
more than
Augury,
that. It was
and there
like-
was 0 preserve. But of all the people who had unlocked Augury, every single one of them had already
had
unlocked
Rigger,
Rigger.
yeah.
And that's crazy. I mean, that many players had bought both, and at that point there were 500 mil, so they were spending a bill on these two prayers. And it's hard to say to those players that, sorry, we now made the pro
I
scroll
don't
unlock
know.
both.
I disagree
that
with that
is,
because
yeah.
I think anybody who gets content on the first day it comes out they know they're overpaying for it. Look at people who went and dropped 500 mil on Elder Maul. Like,
Yeah.
Elder Maul's great. I love that weapon, but it is not a 500 mil weapon. But people happily did it because they wanted it first. They wanted to, make content about it first. So people who get stuff that early know that they're overpaying. I mean, there is, of course, an extent to which we can't be like, you get a press scroll automatically when you complete a raid, but we don't have to worry about that too much, I don't think.
I think Brennan's
Somebody said in the chat, poor rich people. Yeah.
Poor rich people. We're going to get that straw poll in the chat for you guys. There it is right there. Have your say. While we wait for the results, let's hop to the next question then. Here we are from Jason, who says, can the ZGS special attack be rebalanced? The ZGS has the least useful special attack out of all the God Swords. He's provided a few suggestions here. He says, freeze time increased from 20 to 25 or even 30 seconds. Freeze time based on how much damage you hit. What? Wait, you don't
This
like?
sounds like a merch question to begin with.
Yeah, this sounds like a
It's not
panic
bad
sell
weapon. I
AGS.
think like the
You
special
got
attack as it is.
Hold
it
on,
is
let me.
useful. It
I'm just going to go and
freezes
buy some
players, right?
ZGSs on my account.
It's a strong, hard-hitting melee weapon which can freeze your opponent. I mean, like that makes it worthwhile in
The
itself.
effect at the moment is like identical to an ice barrage, isn't it? Like, I think you can splash it. So it's
if
not
you
that
don't
good.
hit damage, then
Yeah.
Even if you hit a 0. I'm pretty
And
sure.
we just gave it another use in raids. It actually can come in handy if one or more people have a ZGS running around, depending on what rooms you get.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to use it.
We
particularly,
just confused. So many
but
people just bought some. Now they're
just
like,
have
never
used,
mind.
technically.
Put them back in.
Yeah.
We've got the results from that straw poll. So which option would you prefer? You can select multiple. So make them more common is at 52%, split rigor and augury is 30%, and leave it as it is 18%.
You can select multiple, but they add up to 100%.
Yeah, I don't think you can
No
select
one knew.
multiple.
this is
But-
tough to gauge.
Basically, only 18% of people think we shouldn't change it.
Yeah, that's
So we've agreed we
obvious.
should change it.
The
But
debate is what we change it to.
Yeah.
And it's mixed. It's tough.
And can we just note that you can select multiple? That's about 31%.
Well done. Thanks, Ronan.
Good job, Ron. Keep it up, buddy.
I think we should perhaps look at making it more common. For what it's worth, the press scroll already is more common than some of the other rewards in raids.
Is it on 1, 2, or 3?
I can't remember, but it's the twisted bow is rarer than the prayer scroll, for example. We were aware that this is going to be something that a lot of players want, and we made it one of the more common ones. But I think we need to do something else.
I think it's
exactly
safe to say we're probably going to be taking a look at it, like to do something.
Everyone's slamming panic sell, but there's barely any in the game because people use them.
Yeah,
yeah, if you're going to
Panic
buy one, you're
use.
going to use it.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know, unless you're merching it. All right.
Wait, what are we talking about ZGSs? What was our answer to that? No.
We were. I think it's a valid point. Yeah. I mean, saying it's the worst God Sword and then making it better than, say, the Bandos God Sword only brings people saying the Bandos God Sword is now the worst God Sword.
There's always going to be one of them that's worst.
I think the ZGS is fine for what it does. Like everybody, it's an old bit of content. Everybody knows what it does. I don't think there's any real need to change it.
All right. Short Dude says, the Wilderness Rejuvenation was a big success in terms of bringing more PVMers and PKers into the Deep Wilderness. Could we see a Revenant dungeon or something similar in the near future to expand on this? They could drop every tier of Bounty Hunter emblem, as well as possibly PvP armors.
Yeah, go on then.
The look Ronan just gave.
I don't think we need to poll
Ronan,
that. I
are
think
you
we'll just stick
Short
with it.
Dude?
Vote yes for Rev Caves.
Jed,
There we go.
you
Let me
have something
just
to
give
say on
some
this, don't
history
you?
for anybody.
I've
For
been
anybody,
told to say, don't mention Rev Caves.
We need the close up on Jed, Ronan.
Yeah.
Extreme
basically,
close-up,
history for
please.
anybody curious. Ronan absolutely loves Rev Caves.
Yeah, I think Wilderness
go.
Rejuvenation is something we definitely want to look at. It's definitely about time for our second one. Wouldn't necessarily have to be called the Rev Caves, wouldn't have to be exactly the same as Rev Caves as we know it, but
Could be a different layout. Could be called
it's
something
what
else.
the Rev Caves did to the Wilderness is what we want to do. And so we'd be looking at what went well with the Rev Caves and what we can learn from. And we want to build something, but it's something we're going to have to obviously work with the community and make sure we get it right. And hopefully, once again, first half this year maybe, it's one of the big PvP
I think
things we wanna do.
the poll could be quite important to stuff like this.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can land on something that everybody wants, but this is we have seen resistance to PK updates in the past. So,
Well,
yeah, I'd really like to do something like that.
There are some things associated with Rev Caves that wouldn't be associated.
Well, yeah, we're not going to
with
put
them
Vestas
today.
or something.
Exactly.
Like,
Vesta Longsword, Stathammer, etc. We wouldn't be doing that. If we were to look at any options, I think the armors are a fair shout, really.
I'd love Vesta's armor to come back in. I'd love Vesta's armor.
Yeah,
If
the
they
thing
bring
with the
something
armors,
they remember, it would be the armors because they were well balanced. There was.
they're
the
very
weapons
expensive.
that were
You
a bit-
use it once and you can't sell it. That's it. It's degrading, right? You can't repair it or anything. The corrupt, you can only wield it for so long. It was really just something for rich people to have fun with, and it was a blast to PK with, and that was just about it, right?
Which is exactly the type of rewards you want to see from that. So.
Yeah. That's a whole other discussion. I think we should definitely open that up to the community and gather your thoughts on that. But
You see, people are saying
we're
stop
definitely
bringing in
open to Rev
RS3 items, and it's like, it's not really RS3, Rev Caves. Like,
I don't know what
It
year
was
that
way
was.
before pre-EOC,
I
wasn't
think it
it?
was just after the
Rev
HC update.
Caves
It was
were-
2008.
Rev Caves were 2011
yeah.
Oh,
because they were invented as a place for revenants to go when free trade was brought back.
Yeah, and that's like a golden era of PKing to a lot of people, so saying that's an RS3 thing is arguable, in my opinion.
Revenants were obviously brought into the wilderness when free
Yeah.
trade was taken out.
brawling gloves? I don't know
No.
about that one. That's
I
a
don't
bit
think we
more
do brawling
controversial.
gloves.
That one is, yeah. As for the, they could drop every tier of bounty hunter emblem. That's not something I had thought of.
I would restrict it to the lower ones because the price of some of the upper ones are quite.
That once again,
And
that
you
takes
can't
people
sell them.
away from bounty hunter. Like, it depends what we want to do with
You
this.
can only use them to buy stuff in the bounty hunter shop.
If it was Bounty Hunter Worlds only, I think there's a lot more scope on it because then there's a focused location on one world
Yeah.
where you're going to have to be risking a lot if you want to sit there and try and get a Bounty Hunter tier 10 from Revenants, for example. Meanwhile, a PKer can go there and would be able to PK that emblem from you.
Yeah.
So it would drive some traffic there.
I mean, the Deadman event that we did at ESL, we did kind of an in-house Q&A for the guys that attended, which we didn't stream, so only how many people, like 100 people saw that Q&A.
Private.
And I'm pretty sure all of us agreed we would all like to see Rev Caves in some form or another.
I think about half
It's
of
just
us
we need to
listed
make
it
sure.
as our like most desired update.
Yeah, we just need to make sure that it's 100% cool with you guys, and obviously need to pass a poll, so.
Did get a suggestion from the chat there, which is make the revs drop Karasi.
Oh, great.
Yeah, why not?
Good idea, Ronan.
Why not hand out free Karassis as soon as you go in?
I know.
Nice
You know what else they can drop? Summoning pouches,
Oh,
pack yaks and stuff.
Okay.
mate, some things aren't funny.
We have. That was funny. That one was.
It was a serious idea.
Next question is from I Like Sorry. He says, can you add an abort all offers button to the Grand Exchange similar to the collect button? It would cancel all offers.
Not sure how easy it'd be to implement, but sounds like a reasonable idea to me.
So if you had something that was, say you're buying 100 or something and you only got 50, and then you hit abort all, you'd still get the 50 obviously, but it would cancel the offer, you'd get all of your cash back, and there you go.
Yeah.
Look,
That's
that
a
That
reasonable-
explanation made it a bit more confusing. I think in my head what I had was on the main screen where you've got all your offers for all different things, you can abort everything at once.
Yeah, but if you're buying, say, 100 Ulongos and 50 already bought,
Yeah, but then you can right click on that
You
one
can already
specific one
abort
and
that.
already do it.
right, I'm saying if you still clicked abort all, that one would still
Yeah.
go on with your inventory.
You mean as in so you wouldn't actually abort that one? Or what?
No.
You know what?
I'm so
you know what?
confused.
We're lost.
I liked it before
Yeah.
Chris's
Lost in
explanation.
Yeah, exactly. Me
All
too.
right.
We would like
All
to
right.
abort everything with one button, yes.
Yes.
If we can do it.
Chris, I can show you how the Grand Exchange works later, don't worry.
Oh, okay. I'm an Iron Man. I wouldn't know. There's the question for separating the two prayers. Tinky says, can the demonic gorilla hitbox be made larger? It's had a lot of support for it.
We
it's
can
worth.
look into it. Definitely.
All right.
For what it's worth, expanding click zones isn't straightforward. Because the click zones are generated engine side based on the geometry of whatever you're clicking on. So generally our solution is to add an invisible rectangle around it. So, for example, the vials that we just added, essentially the vial is still the same shape, but we add a big rectangle on the ground around it that's invisible. Also, if it's fully invisible, you can't click on it. So we have to make it 254 out of 255 transparency to let you click on it. So it's almost invisible.
So if you look hard enough, everything
Maybe if you
in the
look hard
game
enough.
has...
But anything we've expanded the click zone of, that's basically what I do, and we've got to manually edit the model to do that. It's not straightforward, but we'll try and see what we can do.
That's interesting. Altama says, can we see a Teleother to Varrock added to the game? It's odd seeing one of the biggest cities doesn't have Teleother.
Do people use Teleother?
I didn't think so, but
it does get requested like a lot. There was a reason given a long time ago as to why it might not be on there, but I can't remember it. So.
Was it nobody uses Teleother? It could have been that. I don't know. For consistency's sake, it would make sense. But again, is it worth doing? Like,
it does sound like a why wasn't it offered in the first place? Because clearly somebody looked at the ones that do have Teleother and said not Varrock though.
It's on the notepad, but only if you can cope with it rearranging the level order of the spell book, because it's going to move some of the higher level spells.
All right. I think there's an image with this next one. Baratho says, can we have a new restoration potion to make dwarf weeds more valuable? There you go. Each sip heals 20 hit points over time. So 2 hit points every 12 seconds for 2 minutes. And that's what it looks like. There you go.
Interesting.
There's an image, so it's going to do well.
Bye.
You say that.
somebody's sitting on a large pile of
so obviously the
dwarf weed.
concern there is it heals more than brews even, and there's no negatives.
I don't know. I don't think I'd want to do it in a potion, frankly.
I kind of like to ask with everything, is it needed? And it doesn't really
That's a
seem
good question.
that needed.
It is if you've got a large stack of toad's legs and dwarf weeds.
That's true. But I think one of the things that maybe is a pitfall that's too easy to fall into is like making space for something. It's like you should fill space, not make space. And I don't know. While yes, okay, dwarf weed doesn't have that many uses, that is a quite substantial effect to add into the game. So, I mean, yeah. That's but basically the summation of my point is, yeah. So
That's
I think that's very valid reason.
I didn't really know what's the purpose of it.
Someone said it would just be good at Winter Todd because obviously you're taking damage.
I wouldn't want to do it in a potion either because that makes it incredibly powerful. When you only need slow healing, like on a Slayer task, for example, if you're at the lower end, and you use food on a Slayer task, you're not high end. I'm talking about noobs here. That you don't get dealt damage quickly. In fact, the only places you get dealt damage quickly are bosses and PvP. And this would essentially replace all other food because it would be enough to sustain you through a task.
I think we've agreed.
There's issues associated with it, and
maybe one to hang on
does it
for.
really give us?
At the moment, I don't think it fits the game. I'm going to jump to the last question here that also has an image, if we can. As I'd like to show you guys the interview before we run out of time here, but let's get to this question first. Xandrum says, Alm Slayer Helm. Popular suggestion of the week, this one was?
So we discussed this with the art team yesterday, and we all like it. It looks really cool, but one doesn't fit in. Like, why would you get Slayer Helm from Ulm?
But I think it's an Ulm head that you attach to make your Slayer helm like the other one.
I can't imagine it suiting like any other armor. I don't know.
I think it's just an excuse to get another cool looking helmet.
Cool.
It doesn't
that
fit.
is the only benefit from this helmet. Doesn't fit in really, and.
But I mean, it's a Slayer update, so it's going to be very popular.
Speaking of heads as a whole, now that we've got the construction update, we can put more on the room in the POH. So there is an excuse for more heads to exist.
I'd like relevant ones though. Slightly more relevant ones, maybe.
Relevant to Slayer, yeah. That colour scheme, don't get me wrong, that helm looks amazing. I can understand why players want it.
What
But
about
it just
if we were
doesn't
to
make
add
sense.
raids into the boss Slayer category? Complete a raid. It's got bosses in it.
Because it's not really soloable, which maybe detracts from that a bit. Well, you can solo it, to be honest.
Well,
who knows?
That's
the excuse. It's not part of Slayer, so let's just add it as a Slayer task. I don't know. Go on.
All right. We've got to play this interview, so let's go on. This is the interview with the winner of the previous Deadman tournament. I believe Mod Merchant took it away.
I did.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Hey guys, my name's Mod Merchant, and I'm here with the winner of the Deadman Invitational Winter 2016, Rot Nico.
Hey man, what's up, man? This is Rot Nico over here, man.
Awesome, good to meet you, man. So I've got a few questions for you. I thought we'd kick off with just how did you prepare for the tournament?
Oh man, we prepared for the tournament, a really long time. We had Bull Eric on top of this. We got a little bit behind at some points or everything, but eventually, we pulled through.
It's funny you mentioned Balearic. You're reminding me of somebody a little bit,
Like who? Who?
Are we speaking to Balearic?
No. This is Nico. No.
Oh, okay, Nico. Of course. So you mentioned there were some differences from last time. So do you want to go over what they were?
Oh yeah. So listen. So clans were definitely playing a lot more aggressive and trying to team on us. But oh man, see, look. Here's the thing, because no single clan, I guess, right now is a threat. But the thing is, though, this time around, what was worse is that they were all planning against us. They weren't even attacking each other. They were just all their leaders kept on talking to each other about teaming on Rot. So this one was definitely a little bit more challenging, but we pulled through.
I'm going to guess that I know your answer to this, but do you think that you can win the triple next season?
Oh yes, of course. And you know why? Because we have so many plans down. We've went over and over and over of everything that we do. So we thought, it's going to be somewhere in the middle of the wilderness, and we had perfect plans for almost at Spider, and down at Dark Knight Fortress. We had everything.
Yeah, like if I was to start Deadman today, what's the advice you'd give me?
Work for Rot, pretty much. Just join Rot.
Join Rot. That's your tip.
There's nothing that can stop Rot. Nothing can stop Rot. Join Rot, man. We have so many little opportunities for everybody. You could. I've said this before. You could be a Rot magician. You could be a whatever you want. A geologist, carpenter. You could be whatever you want.
So yeah, So of course, what are you going to do with the 10K, guys?
Oh, that's the thing, because we're not 100% sure yet. But I think we're going to end up having a little bit of fun with that money. We may end up buying a few things. We may even be having some fun with the community. So we'll see, man. Like, I've said this so many times before. We're not bad people or anything. We want to have fun as well.
Awesome, sweet. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Nico. Great to have you here. So
thank you very much.
Is there anything you'd like to say? Is there anything you'd like to say as a signing off?
Man, expect Rod to be a lot harder, a lot stronger next time around, man. This time around, so many people came to us, man, and we're gonna be a lot more stronger this upcoming season. Just expect us to win again. We're gonna do our best to win.
All right, well there you go. You heard it here. So yeah, expect Rock to win from the winner of the Winter Invitational himself, Rot Nico. So thank you very much, man. It's been an absolute pleasure, and yeah, good luck in the next season.
Of course, man. Yeah, have a good day, man.
Hey guys.